Hello guys and welcome to a new series. Today I'm going to be starting a playthrough of Stellaris. Now those of you guys who don't know, it's a strategy game made by Paradox. They have also developed Europa Universalis and Crusader Kings. They make and specialise in grand strategy, and it's a genre that I absolutely love. I play tons of EU4, I just don't upload it onto the channel. There's tons of games I actually play that I don't upload, but EU4 is one of those games where I put hundreds of hours into it and I just love the game. But I'd never thought that I would be consistent enough at uploading it, so I never bothered to put it on the channel because it's something that people have to get quite invested in order to follow. Whereas Stellaris, it comes with some 4X elements, a lot like Endless Legend and like Beyond Earth kind of thing. And I thought that people who watched Beyond Earth and Endless Legend might enjoy Stellaris. Also people who like sort of space-based genre, people who watch my Homeworld series, I thought they might like Stellaris. So Stellaris was a great pick for my channel, and when it came out I was super hyped. I did play it a lot. I played it, I think, 24 hours in the first 48 hours of release. So yeah, I got into this game pretty quickly, and I am currently playing a big multiplayer game. But let's not hang about and jump into a new game. So, as you can see, I have created my own empire, and they are called the Schistocerca Alveare. And you're probably wondering, what the hell is that? Well, it's Latin for desert locust hive, and that's pretty much self-explanatory. That's what we're going to be going for, a bug-like nation who is going to swarm the galaxy. So, let's get into our traits. We are a despotic empire, so we have minus 15% building cost, plus 10% slave mineral output, and plus 10% slave food output. We are fanatic collectivists, so we get plus 100% slavery tolerance, which synergizes really well with despotic empire, and also means that we will be enslaving our own population, because we're bugs and we don't care, we just do what we are told. So I thought that would be like a great trait, fanatic collectivist. Then we are militarists. We're quite aggressive, so I want to have the extra army damage there and also the happiness while at war, because I reckon into the mid-late game we're going to be at war almost 24/7, and there will be a reason to that. I'll get to that in just a sec. But the rivalry influence gain as well is also incredibly good, and we're not going to be allying anyone, so the plus 50% influence cost for alliances doesn't really matter too much. I'm basically going to be a very independent nation, that's what I'm going for. So in terms of our traits, I chose strong or rapid breeders. We get the minus 10% growth time, which yeah, it kind of goes with the whole bug thing. We reproduce very quickly. We are going to be strong, plus 20% army damage and plus 5% minerals, so that synergizes again with militarist, and also the plus 5% minerals synergizes with our slave mineral output, so that's wonderful. And also we are going to be resilient. So if we look at the description, the reason this goes so well is because members of this species are physiologically resilient and will fight like enraged brood mothers to defend their worlds. So, just like bugs, we are going to be incredibly strong at defending our homes. So, think like kicking a wasp's nest, you know? That's the kind of thing I'm going for here. If anyone tries to actually land on our planet, we will just kill them off instantly. So, that will be awesome, and I'm looking forward to being very strong militarily, and just sort of being at war with everyone. That's kind of what I'm doing, trying to swarm the galaxy. So this is why we're always going to be at war, because we are repugnant, and that basically means that nobody likes us. We are offensive to pretty much everyone because we're like bugs, and we basically destroy planets and swarm the galaxy, and that's what I'm planning to do here. So we are going to be at war because of that. And that's basically it. So in terms of our systems, we're going for mass drivers. I thought, you know, the swarm nature, we would go for kinetic rounds, which would be pretty cool. So they're electromagnetic projectile launchers, and they use magnets to accelerate armor-piercing rounds towards their targets at high speed. That's pretty cool. We are going to use wormhole travel, and the reason for this is because the wormhole travel, you have like a planet in the middle, and then you can branch out from that central planet to other planets around you. And I thought that it would go with like the whole hive nature pretty well. So I've thought through this quite well. You guys are probably thinking I'm a little bit obsessive with this, but honestly, I absolutely love the sort of feel of this empire. So we're gonna go on with this, and I'm taking the anthropoid ships as well to fit in with the theme nicely. But there you have it. That is my empire and my nation that I'm going to be using throughout this playthrough. I hope you guys are as hyped as I am for this playthrough. I absolutely love this game. It's been amazing so far. So I'm going to keep it probably medium-sized galaxy. We are going to keep the galaxy shape elliptical. The other ones aren't too good. I hate the spiral ones. And the ring one's just annoying because you don't get much space to expand. So elliptical, we're going to keep it. We're going to keep 17, maybe we'll drop that down a bit. 15 AI empires, 4 of them can be advanced, sure thing. And we're going to keep the difficulty normal. Allowed FTL method is any, so we can probably be attacked by sort of any kind of warp travel or something that could be quite annoying, but with our wormholes, you'll see what I'll do later on in the campaign to deal with that. So Ironman mode, we're going to keep off. I'm not too keen on going for achievements in this playthrough. I just wanted this to be a fun playthrough that I could relax and chill and yeah, just continue to play, no problems. So let's jump in and start a new game. So here we are. With our intro. I will try and go through as much of this as possible. Obviously the UI is pretty complicated for those of you who wouldn't have played the game. So what I'm going to do here is we'll just read through this. So in the eons since the first primitive Schistocerca communities took shape amid the great dune seas of Schistoron, our civilization has spread and prospered. The early chaotic periods of our history saw many nation-states vying with each other for power, until we were at last united under the strongest of these. Only when guided by a single vision could we reach our full potential, and an era of stability and scientific progress followed. Now, after the successful creation of artificial subspace wormholes, the finest minds of the Schistocerca Alveare have finished construction of the first wormhole station at the edge of our system. The stars themselves are finally within our grasp. So, that's basically it. Let's begin. So this is Stellaris. I'm sure many of you guys will have seen the game before, so I probably won't have to introduce it too much, but this is our solar system, but we have this to conquer. Yeah, we have an entire galaxy. I am so excited. So we've started in the sort of top side of the galaxy, and it looks like there is a lot of places for us to go. Now each part of the map has a different name, so you can see the Nithran Expanse over there. We've got the Grasping Claw Nebula, and they give like different modifiers. Nebula give a 30% travel speed penalty for ships in interstellar flight. Obviously we don't get that penalty because we use wormholes, I think. So that's great. Anyway, we can jump back into our system by, I'll just hover over it and press E, and we shall come back into our solar system. So the first things we want to do are choose our research, this bar up here with all these notifications. That's the physics research notification. It's basically telling us to pick these. So to start with, I'm going to go for the probably solar panel network. Yeah, that seems like the best one out of those choices. Basically what happens is you select research, you get 3 choices. They are almost randomly generated, but they also depend greatly on the type of people you are. So because I'm a militarist and I'm also a fanatic collectivist, I will get buildings that increase productivity basically, and also a lot of military techs. like available to research, and then later on in the game I'll get the rest. But we're just going to get a colony ship, because colonizing as soon as possible is very good in this game. And then for our engineering research, I'm probably going to go for the mineral storage capacity and spaceport level 2. That's actually quite rare for me, so I'm going to select that while I can, because often the spaceport level 2 doesn't come to the Schistocerca very often, because we're not materialists, and materialists often get like the best upgraded ships as soon as possible. But anyway, so those are our technologies. Those are represented up here. As you can see, our income is currently +5, +5, +5 for our researchers, and that means that we get +5 progress per month. This is also increased by our research speed that you can see here. We have different bonuses dependent on mainly the scientists at the start. So you can see this guy has a trait that increases his research speed. This one has increased leader experience gain. They gain experience over time, so that's fine. And this one has extra 10% research speed when it's researching rocketry researches. This one is Voidcraft, so we won't get the bonus there. But yeah, so again, going from left to right, we have our government tab. This shows us our emperor, our ruler traits. So he's currently giving us -15% build cost and +10% happiness. Then we have our ethics, which I've already talked about, and our empire type. Our heir comes up here, and they will have their own traits. Our current empire effects. Then at the bottom here we have the different tabs for this. So we have our budget. This is basically telling us why we're making so much energy a month, and that energy is shown up here. You can also just hover over that to see the same sort of thing. But this is like a greater look at the economic effects and income and expenses, but that's also shown up here under our energy credits. For policies, we have numerous things to choose. First of all, our war economy, which is going to keep it static. If we basically change it to semi-static or dynamic, what happens is while you're in a defensive war, you get bonuses, and that's why you would choose those. Slavery is allowed, of course, because we are fanatic collectivists. Slave procreation basically is allowed, or should be allowed, and I will change that. I'm not sure quite why it's blanked out at the moment. Purging is allowed. I do not want to have population that is divergent from my initial species, because what will happen is they will lose the collectivist trait and no longer want to be slaves, but we want to keep them as slaves. So there we go. We're going to change our orbital bombardment to full, and this will basically allow us to take over enemy settlements or planets quicker. Won't come into effect until a little bit later on. Migration is prohibited. We don't want our population to move about freely because they are going to be enslaved. Then for resettlement, we are allowed, so we can forcibly resettle population. So I'll just do it manually instead of using migration. Voting rights, we don't want voting because we are despotic empire. We have leadership for our primary species only. And first contact protocol, if we bump into somebody else, we are instantly aggressive, so we can basically attack aliens straight away if we bump into them. We won't necessarily know who they are until we research them. At the bottom here we have edicts, so we have -10% ethics divergence, which is really good for us, but I won't enforce it yet because currently we only have +3 influence per turn, and these all take 1 per turn. But basically all of these provide different bonuses. These research ones are quite good. I'm going to stick the society research grant on quickly because that will boost my colony ship unlock. So you can see 37% now for this technology, and this is the one that I need as soon as possible, so we're going to be researching that. Then moving to demographics, We have our overall happiness, like population effects, how much population of each type we have. So currently we're all Schistocercan, but there we go. And we have 7 populations across one world. Then moving across the top here, we have our empire. Basically shows our planets, what they produce, who the governor is, what modules they have in their spaceports. The spaceport is this thing here. If I just close this and we zoom in to the spaceport, this is our spaceport. It hovers above our planet, gives us different bonuses and helps defend it. But yeah, so that's that. Then we have our leaders. These are all the leaders. These are all our scientists. 3 of them are helping our research. 1 of them will be on our science ship, which is this thing just here. Then we have our governor, which is governing the planet. For our factions, this is when I enslave people, we'll get a slave faction, and then we can get rebel factions as well that will try and overtake planets and so on when we start conquesting other people. Then moving over to contacts, we haven't actually found anyone yet, but this is what we'll use for our diplomacy, and I guess I'll go into that a bit more later on. And species, so when we bump into new species, they will be listed here with their traits and so on, so that we can choose which ones we would like to assimilate and which ones we would just like to kill off. And that's pretty much it. Then moving over to our ship designer, we have different types of ships. Currently this is our corvette, which is our military vessel. Comes with 3 mass drivers on the top, as you can see. When we hover over them, it tells you which one's which. And you can switch these out to different things and components when we get some more. Currently I'm just keeping it on auto best because I'm not particularly keen on the micromanagement of sorting out all of the ships. Construction ship, we have a science ship and our transport ship. So that's for controlling our troops and taking them from planet to planet. Each army gets a transport ship automatically. So moving on, we have our situation log. This will start to fill up once we actually start the game, and we will give us missions basically to do, certain things that will give us bonuses, and our victory conditions, domination victory or conquest victory. So domination victory, win the game by owning 40% of all colonizable planets, which is pretty insane. Or conquest victory, win the game by conquering or subjugating all other empires. And currently there are still 5 or 15 other independent empires left in the galaxy. So yeah, that's a pretty big victory condition, but we should be able to do it, I guess. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to take this campaign all the way to the end. I'll see what you guys think, see how popular it is. If it isn't very popular, then what I'll do is probably give myself like a mini objective to own like half the universe or something like that. So that's our situation log anyway. Then we have our technology that I've shown you guys already. In this bottom left side, we have our world, our one of our armies, or which is, well, our fleet. So that's currently 3 corvettes. Then we have our science ship and our construction ship, and that's our bottom left. In the middle we have our solar system, and we can click here to go to the galaxy that I've already shown you. And that's pretty much it. In the bottom right we have detailed map mode ticked on, just so that we get to see the bonuses from each galaxy. You'll be able to see that more later on. We can also search for specific places in the galaxy, and that go-to is to go to our home system. So that's about it. Let's get going. So first thing I'm going to do is select my science ship, and I'm going to quickly come out of here, right click and survey system. So what that's going to do is tell my science ship to survey all of the planets in the solar system and tell us whether or not there are any resources we can use. It also goes to suns and so on in the middle here to see if we can get any energy from them and so on. So that will start doing that in a second. Our construction ship will be idle for now, but one thing I need to do with my military fleet is scout the other systems to see where other aliens are, and also to see if we can find any habitable planets. So let's start by selecting that one. I'm just going to hold shift and click all of the rest of the solar systems in my immediate area. And you can see my wormhole system working in here. So every time I want to go to a different system, I have to go back to where my wormhole generator is. So my wormhole generator is just here. And they have to fly out to it, and then they can instantly travel to any one of the planets within this circle. And that basically restricts our range quite a lot. But when we get new technologies, we can bypass the range quite a lot by making the range like massive. But that will be a bit later into the game. So if I unpause it finally, you'll start to see the ships move. And they will head off and do their tasks. My science ship is starting to survey this planet, which is a gas giant. So basically got a gas giant planet with a couple of moons. And we are currently on one of those moons, which is Schistocerca, our home planet. So now what we've got to do is just wait a little bit. We also need to go to the surface of our planet, and I need to enslave all the populace who are working on food and minerals. So we just got a new heir there as well. I'll show you him in a second. So enslave the population. Enslave. Now we only want to enslave the ones we need to at the moment, because if we enslave them all and then unenslave them, we get like the negative enslaved bonus. Actually no, we wouldn't, because they are tolerant to slavery anyway. Yeah, well, either way, you never want to enslave people who work on energy or science, because it reduces their income as opposed to increasing it. And yeah, that's for my own nation, that's fine, because we are tolerant of slavery. When we actually go out into the Empire and start conquering other species, what we'll probably do is just enslave entire planets, because it's just easier to maintain public order that way. As you can see here, the wormhole being created, and my corvettes will soon disappear. You can see they are entering the wormhole, and boom, they're gone. Right, so they will appear up here. Actually, no, they've already been there. They will appear just here, and then they can just wormhole back straight away. Now, little cool thing, my home solar system is called Turbicore, and that actually stands for Swarm Heart. So that is just a little thing there. My star system is called Turbicore. Just a little sort of, I guess, like lore I kind of added to my nation. I really would like to sort of write some sort of information for this Schistocerca and maybe upload them as a faction onto the workshop. I think that would be pretty cool. But anyway, we should probably upgrade this tile. So when we click on our planet, we get this planet stuff at the bottom. We have planetary summary, which shows us the habitability, so how well our species can use the planet. Our income, well, I think that's potential income, and then this is our actual output. This is our food surplus, and that affects the growth of our population on the planet. We have our current population on the planet, so 7 out of 10, and we can increase that by basically clicking on these and clearing the blockers, because currently we have slums, industrial wasteland and so on. But once we clear that, we can put another population on those tiles. We have our edicts. We can do planetary edicts, which give us certain boosts on certain planets. Then we have the surface, which is where our population is. We can move the population about onto different tiles if we want, but it's best to go for food first so that the population grows faster. We get our capital world here bonus, which you'll see extra bonuses on different planets when we colonize them. This is our armies tab, so shows what armies we have. Currently we have 1 defense army on the planet, and that is our total planetary fortification. So okay, a lot of shit just happened. We just encountered aliens, alpha aliens, and we also Just got a message, a contact report. It did not take long for the Schistocerca Alveare to come across intelligent alien life. The fleet's report to the Schistocercan capital somewhat understates just how alien these forces appear, and only in passing mentions the failure to open communications. So, if we now go to our situation log, we can see investigate alpha aliens, and that will allow us to research those aliens and find out who they are or what they are, whether or not they're sentient or so on. So anyway, we're not going to do that just yet, because it's best to find as many aliens as possible and then research them all at once. Because researching aliens like that slows down your research, and it would slow down our society research, and I don't want that to happen. Anyway, our leader has gained a level. That is our science ship dude. So the guy who's controlling our science ship, he's gaining experience from surveying these planets. Now, something you can do is, once these scientists get to max rank, is put them into your technology tree here, and then switch out a new one and get them up to high rank. And I think it gives you like extra bonuses based on their skill. So that's something worth doing later on when we have a bit of extra time. But currently at the moment, I need to start building in my home system. So what we're going to do is start building on Vel Rab, because it's got a really nice mineral output. So instead of colonizing the planet, we can just build a mining station over the planet, and we will start to gain those 3 minerals from that planet per turn. So that will put us up to plus 12 minerals per turn. Now we do have to be careful, because every time we build a mining station, it will cost us 1 energy credit per month. So what we'll have to do as well is basically make a mining station over the gas giant here, which will help us maintain our energy income. So Turbo has been fully surveyed, and if we zoom out here, we can see what the detailed map mode does. It tells us the overall income that is potentially ours from building stations and so on in Turbo. So that's non-planetary based resources that we can use mining stations to acquire. And what we want to do now that the science ship is finished here is survey the next system, which is next to us. So Akmel is the system next to us, and this planet here is potentially habitable. It's an arid world, but unfortunately we can't colonize arid worlds yet because we do not have the technology.
Situation log updated.
So we've encountered beta aliens now. And also, one thing I forgot to mention is that every time we build a mining station, it does cost minerals. So that's the balance you're sort of going for, is your mineral input versus your energy input or income. Now these 3 things up in the top right, I forgot to mention these. The one on the left is strategic resources. So we'll start to find strategic resources once we research them. And then we have directly controlled planets, so we can only control 5 planets currently, and when we get more than that we have to create states, but I'll go over those once we can make them. And then we have our naval capacity, which is how many ships you can maintain without incurring a negative modifier. Each ship requires ship maintenance, which will reduce the amount of energy you receive over time, so having more ships will cost more maintenance. But anyway guys, that's about it for this episode of Stellaris. This has been a massive introduction to the game and kind of, I guess, a bit of a tutorial as to the UI and so on. So hopefully you guys maybe learned how to play the game from this, but if we aren't so rudely interrupted by these messages, I'm going to have to leave it here. So guys, I'm just going to pause it. Now, just before I go, I would like to say please subscribe if you have enjoyed this first episode of my Stellaris playthrough. I will continue to try and be as informative as possible, and by subscribing you can keep up to date with all of my Stellaris videos, which should be releasing once a day. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Goodbye.